Looking, I'm really looking forward to Bandish Bandits, and one of the reasons why, my primary reasons, is I'm a huge fan of music. I'm a huge
Wow.
fan of music infused with drama, and I find that in the OTT space, in the digital space, we don't have a nice musical dramatic series. We just
Right.
don't. So, tell me a little bit about your inspiration behind Bandish Bandits.
Hindi film industry. We've
Oh
been
yeah, okay.
we've been talking this language for a century now. Since Raja Harishchandra to now 2020, we've been speaking in this language, and in fact, this language comes from uh, the folk form of storytelling in Indian theatre, especially from the state that I come from, Maharashtra. Uh, the Sangeet Natak language is exactly this. There is drama and there is music, and in the music, the story moves forward. Over the years
Hmm.
in Hindi film industry, that's probably the right term for it. What has happened is the songs kind of became devoid of storytelling. So in
Yes.
Bandish Bandits, you will find that the songs carry forward the narrative, not in the ballad form of the Western musicals, because the Western musicals you have to sing your dialogues through too. That's not the
Yes.
form India follows. India follows a very different format. In India, music carries the story forward in a very different way, and everybody who has born and brought up to Indian cinema takes it for granted because it's not
Yes.
just for Hindi film industry, but for all the industries that India has, all the film industries in the various languages that India has. So we've just taken that storytelling form onto the digital platform, and we were wondering why nobody else has done it till now. We were the first movers of a very old language. So I'm very glad that, I mean, this excites you. This excites me too. And I'm very happy that we have partners in Amazon Prime that saw the same vision, that were genre agnostic as far as storytelling is concerned. They were excited in Bandish Bandits from the word go because of its unique form, because of its relatable content. And I think uh, setting it in a small town city like Jodhpur, which kind of represents uh, the old India in such a uh, unique yet relatable way. Also bringing in the very modern urban ethos of Western influenced modern urban ethos of someone from Mumbai and them clashing. Of course, there will be sparks. Of course, there's going to be a love story that will have more than just romance. Of course, there are going to be familial troubles and drama. So it has everything that a Bollywood film would have. Uh, so very excited to tell this over 10 episodes.
Hmm. One of the things that I've found, and this is an observation I make as a viewer and as a lover of cinema and shows and anything entertainment, is at times directors and actors miss the mark when they're portraying somebody who is a musician or somebody who's a singer.
Right.
And one of the reasons why is because they do not embody the actual body language of a singer or a
Right.
musician. How did you ensure that you did that with your cast?
So, I mean, we were very aware of that. We did not want to take up something as important as music and, not do it well enough. It is very difficult to find actors who also sing in India. Unfortunately, our theater training isn't like some of the schools that I have seen in Europe, where your training is also covers music. Unfortunately, people are only trained either as actors or as musicians. So we couldn't find people who could do both, but we found some amazing actors. We knew the
Mhm.
journey of them because Indian actors are also used to lip syncing. We knew that they'll be able to find that slightly easier than getting actual musicians to act because these are not straightforward parts. These are very layered parts. You shouldn't be able to tell where the journey of this character is going to go from the first scene. They need to show enough and hide enough. So we chose the path of casting it with some great actors and taking a good 2 months of training to each one of them. Whether it was their riyaz sessions, whether it was their jamming sessions, whether it was their specific songs, to really train them not just in the lip sync, but also, as you correctly said, in the body language. And in Hindustani classical, every gharana has its way of singing,
Hmm.
depending on the what's called the parent instrument of that gharana. So your way of singing differs if the parent instrument is sarangi, or if it is veena, or if it is harmonium, or any other melodic instrument. So we had to choose very carefully what we wanted. We chose a music teacher also who came on board, this young guy called Akshat Parekh, who comes from a gharana, Pandit Jasaje's gharana. And he came and trained everyone for 2 months on all that they had to do, not just for their music bits, but also the philosophy behind every song, the mathematics behind every song, because classical music is very improvisatory and it's very, uh, uh, there is a great amount of mathematics to it. Uh, for anybody who understands jazz will get classical music, Indian classical music far more. So he was able to break it down for them as much as you can learn in 3 4 months, uh, so that it comes across as naturally and as effortlessly as possible. I'm sure we wouldn't have been able to get it to the T. I'm sure we would have made some mistakes here and there for people who can tell. But for the larger audiences, I hope we've gotten it through. For all the musicians who've already seen the series, uh, a lot of people, in fact, the editor himself, once when he just saw the rushes, and because Ritwik Bhowmik is an actor who's absolutely new, most people hadn't seen him before. He saw the rushes and he said, it was a great call to just cast a singer. He said, he can't sing. He's pretending to sing. And he couldn't believe it. Ritwik was so good. So I hope you have the same
Hmm.
reaction on me.
One of the things that you talk about, obviously, we're talking about music. Music is such an integral part of this series, and music is essentially a main character in the film. Tell me a little bit about why you chose Shankar Ehsaan Loy
We
to
couldn't
create
have
the
thought of
music for
anyone
Bandish
else. We couldn't have thought of anyone else, because the kind of music that was required for the show had to represent the classical form in its truest way, had to represent the pop form in its truest way, and had to find a unique storytelling when it combines. When Bandish and the Bandits become one and becomes Bandish Bandits, it had to all sit together while taking the story forward. It wasn't just about making music, it was also taking the story forward. Their experience in creating music is, I don't know what, 20 odd years, maybe more, uh, and they are still relevant. There are
Yes.
hardly music directors who are out there who can claim that, if not for the trio. And also because they know how to combine together. We also needed musicians who knew what it is to combine, what it is to jam. So in fact,
Hmm.
they were able to help out in a lot of the scenes where when a song was getting created or a jamming session was happening, they were able to help us rewrite those scenes so that the drama could be
Mhm.
told better, learning from what actually happens when a song is created. Uh, so we couldn't have asked for a better collaborator team, not just musicians, because they came on board more than just musicians.
When you're behind the camera, and of course you've acted yourself in films, when you're behind the camera and you're looking at Shreya and you're looking at Ritwik, both of whom have been relatively unexplored, generally speaking, from an audience perspective, I find that there's a rawness, there's a freshness as a director that you can actually find in these actors. What was the one thing that surprised you about Shreya, and what was the one thing that surprised you about Ritwik?
The opposites, actually. Uh, Shreya has said this in one of her interviews, that she's actually more like Radhe as a human being, and Ritwik is more like Tamanna as a human being.
Hmm.
So when we tested them, we were not looking for how well they're saying a particular line. I always, when I test actors, I look for the human being behind the actor. If that human being is making a fair and true attempt at performing, because you will not be able to get all the nuances on the word. Only geniuses will be able to. If you're able to be true to the part that you are given, then that's a great win for me. So I saw them growing as they went along, and something that you said, Amin, which is very very important, is that sometimes that rawness, which is so attractive, when you start spending 75 days of shoot, that rawness can go away and you can start becoming more and more methodical and more, it can become more and more about the craft and how do I do this and what is this supposed to be. But if you can keep that rawness true, if you can keep that trueness true, what we get attracted to in actors is the truth behind the performance. We are
Mm.
not attracted with the lie. We all know they're lying. Every actor is lying when they're performing a part. But
Mhm.
if they're able to bring truth behind it, we get attracted to them. We don't even know it. Most of us just get attracted to them because we feel, oh my
Mhm.
God, he or she is doing so well. But they're doing so well. What does that even mean? It means that they're being true in that moment. And Ritwik and Shreya at this young age, without having the experience of a Naseeruddin Shah or a Atul Kulkarni or a Sheeba Chaddha,
Yes.
are able to find ways of being truthful. And I hope sometimes what happens with actors, and because I've seen many actors while growing up as an actor, that when they have more experience, they start becoming lazy, and the truth kind of leaves them.
Mm.
Uh, I can be very well assured with the training they've had in this series with the actors that they have been with, uh, that they will remain true. And if they don't, I'll be watching.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask
Yes.
you one last question. What was your favorite part of being a director, being behind the camera for Bandish Bandits? What was your favorite? What was your takeaway?
When I edited the climax
Hmm.
and I felt so fulfilled,
Hmm.
and I didn't meet anybody that day. I hugged my editor, and I'm not very self-congratulatory at all. In fact, whenever I see my stuff, I'm ridiculing it. I don't necessarily like it. I could have done it differently as an actor and as a director, but it
Hmm.
wasn't about me. It was about how well everything came together, how well each performer on screen, each music piece that is aiding it, be it the BGM, be it the music itself, be it the sound design, be it the storytelling that was intended by the writers, it all just came together. And I won't reveal much about the climax yet, and we can talk more about it when we actually see the show. I felt okay. Now I think I have done my job. I
Hmm.
think this is all come together, and everything that we want to say, all the Easter eggs that were laid down. If there is somebody who's keen enough and understands music a little bit or understands drama a little bit, has able to find is able to find the same fulfillment I found as a director when I finally put the edit together, then I would
Hmm.
have done my job. So I have enjoyed the cake when it just came out of the oven, but it's
Hmm.
up to you to like it now. It's not just for me to enjoy. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
Anand, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to watching Bandish Bandits. I think it will be phenomenal because
Thank
the
you.
trailer is engaging, the songs are engaging, and Shreya and Ritwik look extremely promising. So, looking forward to it. All the very best.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Arvind.
much for
Thank you
this
so
chat.
much.